I remember once when I was a 10-year-old Cub Scout, swimming in my local baths, goggles on, looking down. I swear to God, old Mr. Kynaston was walking on the bottom of the pool. He clean forgot and jumped in the deep end with 2 metal hips. He'd only been out of surgery 6 weeks. He sank like a concrete block and was heading straight towards the shallow end. He was walking in slow motion, because you can't walk quickly underwater, can you? Unless physics answers to you. Actually, he wasn't walking to the shallow end, he was hiking up to it, because the bottom of the pool was like that, sloped from deep end to shallow end. As if walking underwater isn't hard enough as it is, without trekking uphill. Well, Kynaston was trekking uphill for dear life. The lifeguard didn't try to save him because he thought he was just doing high-intensity aqua aerobics. He was producing 2 streams of bubbles, one from his mouth and one from his... Put it this way, you didn't want to be in close proximity to those bubbles when they broke the surface. When he eventually reached the 3-foot shallow end, he went like that. Help me! He was a dwarf! 3'6" in his stocking feet, Kynaston, 4 feet in his heels. He was an 86-year-old transvestite dwarf and retired Shetland pony jockey. He shot to fame when he won the 1966 Shetland Pony Grand National. Dressed as Snow White. It was one of the most surreal things I'd ever seen. Anyway, I'll get back to Kynaston in a minute. Now, as well as the indoor pool, there was also a heated outdoor pool, and I remember once when I was a 16-year-old Explorer Scout belly flopping right into the middle of it. It was the heart of winter, Baltic, and the caretaker had forgotten to turn the heating on. The outdoor pool was so cold, it was like belly flopping into a gigantic slush puppy cup on Antarctica. The first thing that happened was all the air in my lungs left. Gone! Creating a vacuum which then sucked outside air back in, causing me to make a sound like this. My bollocks sack had shrunk so quickly and unexpectedly that it propelled my testicles back to their birthplace. They had retracted back inside my body, desperately seeking warmth and sustenance, selfishly deserting my cock in the process, who was left to fend for himself in what can only be described as the Arctic Ocean. All my dick could do was shrink to the size of a licorice torpedo and go into a hypothermic coma. Whilst that was going on down there, all the hairs on my body tits up. Well, the pool was 4 foot deep. It was a training pool, a baby pool. The waterline was just covering my nipples, which was so hard they could cut glass. Anyway, all the hairs on my back, neck and ears. I've got hairy ear syndrome. It's a genetic Y-linked chromosome disorder. I only get it on the tips of my ears, and if I don't wax them, I look like a goddamn lynx. So all the hairs on my back, neck and ears went like that. Whink! Plus all the hairs on my head went whink! So now I look like an electrocuted punk. I had big hair back then. The reason my hairs did this is because I had developed gargantuan goosebumps that was so freakishly embossed I was now left with the skin texture of a stickle brick. I had skin like Braille skin. If a blind person placed their hands on me, I'd butt them. If they'd got my permission first, then they put their hands on me, all that would result is complete confusion, because unlike Braille, which is an organised collection of meaningful bumps, my skin was a chaotic mass of incomprehensible pimples which communicated nothing but incoherent, unintelligible gibberish. Plus, it had also turned blue because all the blood had drained back to my core. By now, I had metamorphosized into a contorted, deformed, shivering wreck, because every single muscle in my entire body had gone into a collective catastrophic spasm, which meant I now resembled a short-arse blue avatar alien with sticklebrick skin, hairy ears, and a bad case of Parkinson's. Or, if I wasn't quickly rescued, Han Solo and Carbonite.